Now today is a special day because later today will come from the World Health Organization report number 50 for the 10th of March. Their report started on the 21st of January with report number 1. And what I'm going to do a little bit later probably is compare report number 1 to report number 50. Let's just have a quick look at report number 1, 21st of January for the 20th. Okay, highlights or lowlights. Basically 44 patients with pneumonia of unknown etiology. January the 21st, where we 20th of January, Republic of Korea reported the first case. They now have several thousand. As of 20th of January, 282 confirmed cases had been reported from 4 countries: China, Thailand, Japan and the Republic of Korea. Okay, of the 278 confirmed cases, 51 were severely ill, 12 critical, 6 deaths reported from Wuhan city. And there's your first international table. Okay, China, Hubei province including Wuhan, Guangdong province, which was the second worst hit, but I mean they've still only got 1 per 100,000 of population, or maybe 2 per 100,000 of population now, but they had 14 cases then. Beijing, Shanghai, Japan, Republic of Korea, Thailand. Okay, 60 new cases on that day, including 3 deaths in Wuhan city. Okay, that was report number 1. Report number 49 yesterday. 109,577 cases globally, 80,904 in China, 3,123 deaths in China. Outside of China, and this is really, remember there were 4 cases outside of China back then, now there are 28,673, nearly 4,000 new cases. Now in terms of confirmed cases, lab confirmed cases, that is equal to the maximum number of daily new cases in China back in February the 5th. So 686 deaths, 202 new deaths, that's nearly 30% increase in deaths in one single day in 104 countries. Risk China, very high. Global, very high. Regional, very high. It took them a very long time to change the latter two to very high from high. I don't know why. And apparently it's still not a pandemic. But let's have a look at the map. Okay. The map was all China before. In fact, I don't think they even had a map in report number 1. There wasn't any point in having a map. No map. Okay. Well, let's have a look at the WHO map. That's the WHO map. It's rather telling because now they're focusing on Europe and China. Not just, in fact, they're focusing on Europe. That's Europe. They're magnifying Europe rather than magnifying China. Whereas on previous reports, they were always magnifying China. Yeah? That just shows that the epicenter of this thing essentially is now not in China. It's been exported to Europe. There you go. There's China concentrated. They're concentrating on China there in report number, well, where are we? 29th of February. That was report number 40. And now they're concentrating on Europe. Okay. China just has its own blob as one country. If you go look at John Hopkins, which doesn't seem to want to show. Oh, here we go. Here's John Hopkins. Well, where's the epicenter of this outbreak now? Where's the epicenter? Well, there's China and there's Europe, and there's lots popping up across North America. Lots of stuff popping up across North America. But really, China, Middle East, Europe. It's all over Europe, okay? It's a disaster. So, where are we? Let's cut to the chase. Okay, disastrous new forecast for Italy. Here are my forecasts. Okay, as of yesterday, as of last night. I rerun my forecast for China from report 49. China, my forecast is 81,466. By the end of April, be a change of less than one a day. I mean, there may be clusters, of course, by mid-April, but that's what the trend says. China cumulative deaths 3395 by mid-May. Takes a little while for that to slow down, a little while longer for it to slow down than the cases. South Korea cumulative cases 9938. It always comes around 10 to 11 or 12,000 for South Korea. Italy cumulative cases 51,000 by 31st of July. It's going to go on a lot longer. The change won't get to less than one a day before 28th of June, whereas all of these, China, South Korea, will change less than one a day probably by mid-April. Okay, so the China forecast is looking good. There might only be 1,000 more new cases unless they get some new outbreaks anywhere. South Korea, again, South Korea has been very steady at 10,000 to 12,000 cases on my forecast since I started. The Italy forecast is much worse. I started off with an extremely tentative forecast of 16,000. The next day or 2 days later it went to 28,000. Day or two after that, I think within 3 days of the 16,000 case, it stands at 51,000 because there have been higher than expected percentage increases. So the Italy forecast looks like that. Okay.